Thank you, Sami. Dear Vada, dear Celso, dear Rafael, friends, thank you all for coming. Let me make a note of time here before Sami breathes down my neck. Question of the day is, how did we slip from facts to fake news, from truth to falsehoods, from Barack Obama to Donald Trump? Patricio here, who has helped organize this session, has asked me to provide you with a broad context, and we'll get into the solutions or potential and possible solutions in the discussions that will ensue. Technology creates and technology destroys. The internet, one of the greatest discoveries in the history of humanity, is destroying mainstream media, which, despite all their faults, did help sustain our Western liberal secular democracies for a long time. Internet freed citizens from the limitations of geography. It freed them from the need to have expensive printing presses or expensive distribution modes of delivering the newspaper or delivering the TV content. By doing so, the internet broke the mainstream media's business model completely. The second development is, by the time newspapers and televisions discovered that and produced their own website, they discovered that the paywall doesn't work. People were not willing to pay, period. That led to further cutbacks in editorials. At the Toronto Star, which is Canada's largest newspaper, we used to have 400 people in the newsroom. We are down to 110. When you have such drastic cutbacks, you know what will follow. You cannot cover local news. You cannot cover regional news and national news the way you used to. And then you slide into gimmickry. You rely on celebrity journalism. Madonna's belly button gets you the hits. Or you get into sob TV, Oprah Winfrey. How do you really feel when your son died? Or you get reality TV, and therefore Donald Trump. The third phase of this development has been the rise of two giants with whom we are very familiar, Facebook and Google. Facebook has 2.1 billion users every month, 66% of whom use it every day. Facebook also owns WhatsApp, 1.2 billion users a month. Messenger, 1.2 billion users a month. Instagram, 700 million users a month. It is estimated that humanity is spending nearly 40,000 collective years on Facebook every day. Last week, Facebook announced its third quarter results. Revenues were $10 billion. And the total market capitalization of Facebook is a whopping $445 billion today. YouTube, which is owned by Google, also now known as Alphabet, has 1.5 billion users a month. The relevance of all of this to our discussion here is that these two giants are vacuuming up 99% of new digital revenues away from the mainstream media. The fourth development is that the content of Facebook and YouTube is free to you and me, of course, but it is also free to these two giant corporations. Their content is produced by you and me. We are all working for Mark Zuckerberg. We are donating 15 million years of free labor every year to Facebook. The fifth development is that some of this content is stolen. Much of this content is fraudulent. Much of it is scary. live streaming or running videos of murders, suicides, typhoons, cop chases, cop killings, or from the other end of the continent, beheadings by ISIS, or terrorists blowing up buildings and people. The more shocking the content, the bigger the audience. So we are complicit. And what do Facebook, Google, and others have to say about all this? Little or nothing. If there's a big controversy, they say, oh, sorry, and the next day they go back to business. They are not in the business of fact-checking or quality control. They are not in the business of balanced reporting. They are not in the business of responsible content and opinion. They don't care about misinformation, fake news or false news or outrageous lies. They are not interested in the checks and balances of democracy. Facebook has no financial interest in telling the truth. There's a great article that appeared in the London Review of Books, and I highly recommend it to you, by John Lancaster. You are the product. You should read it. In fact, I've stolen much of it from this article. The sixth development is a happy one, with which we are familiar, the rise of social media. We know, of course, its role in Arab Spring, in the Maidan in Ukraine, in providing local news as a mainstream media pull out of news gathering, in promoting human rights, grassroots democracy, and all the good things of life. But they are no match to these big numbers that I've just outlined to you. And the second sad part of it, much of the social media has been most skillfully used by the right, by populists, by racists, by xenophobes and Islamophobes, who are all very well funded, much better than grassroots organizations and human rights activists. The seventh development is that, as welcome as social media are because they're democratic, they bring everyone into the play, they are tribalizing society by aggregating like-minded people into silos. I talk to people who agree with me. Such fragmentation erodes the democratic public square. Such tribalism is not good for the common good. Such tribalism is the antithesis of democracy. The next big development is that all this new information globalization has benefited from recruiting the victims of economic globalization, those dislocated by automation, those who have lost their jobs and dignity and who have seen their communities totally destroyed, some of which was mentioned yesterday. Their grievances have been effectively harnessed by right-wing social media and by populists like Trump, Marine Le Pen, Geert Wilders, and others that we are familiar with, who use false news, fake news, conspiracy theories, fanning of the fires of resentment and encouraging white nationalism, majoritarian cultural warfare on minorities, immigrants, African Americans, Latinos, Muslims, refugees, and of course, women and gays. Trump's biggest constituency, it is not an accident. Trump's biggest constituency consists of white males with no college education, who believe in patriarchy, who have a nostalgia about the good old past when they were on top of the social order, women and minorities knew their place, and their main desire is, I want it to be like it was. That's the main sort of a driving force which Trump always stokes. The next development is that this right-wing populism has been helped along by the rise of right-wing media, especially in the United States. And we see that parts of it in Europe as well. In North America, Rupert Murdoch's Fox News, New York Post, and the rise of right-wing radio all across the United States. What is their business model? Their business model is anger sells, shouting sells, bashing minorities sells, Islamophobia sells. In fact, Islamophobia is now a business model. So their most outrageous exaggerations, the most patent lies, their biggest conspiracy theories are against Muslims. If in the 1950s there was the communist and Red Scare, communists are under every bed, now there is the Green Scare. Muslim terrorists are under every minaret. Muslim terrorists are coming to a neighborhood near you. Muslims are taking over. They are a demographic time bomb. Sharia is coming. Muslim men are going to molest white women the same way blacks were going to do and molest white women in America. Or in colonial India, brown men were going to molest chaste white women, as in E.M. Foster's Passage to India. You know, a lot of parallels have been drawn to Nazi Germany, and many of them are inaccurate. But some parallels are true. The same kind of populism like the 1930s, same kind of demagoguery, the same targeting of media and writers who tell the truth, the same exaggerated fears of a minority, the same laying of collective guilt on a people, the same sin of seeing a whole people solely through the prism of religion, the same ignorant assertions of and mainstreaming of bigotry, and the most outrageous things that can be said about a people and a faith that you dare not say about any other people or any other faith as you can about Muslims and Islam. An embarrassing demonstration of which we saw in the opening session Friday night of this session, I know. Islamophobia is the new anti-Semitism. It is just as poisonous and toxic in eroding the foundational pillars of our secular liberal democracies. It is as toxic as anti-Semitism, anti-Catholicism, or anti-Black or anti-Japanese bigotry and racism during the Second World War. I say all this not as a Muslim who is a proud Muslim, but rather as a Canadian who happens to be Muslim, who is saddened by this dangerous slide that our democracies have taken of late. To sum up, the disease is not just fake news. It is far more widespread, and we all need to wake up to it. Thank you very much.